Okay, we're going to be talking about writing the equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. We're going to start with the graphing exploration where we graph the following two functions on the same graph. Let's start by solving for y. This one is solved for you already. Y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. And this one is not solved for y, so let's solve it for y by moving the x term, subtracting negative 2x from both sides. And we have y is equal to negative 2x minus 4. This makes a zero pair. All right, so let's graph these on the same graph and see what happens. And so I have the same lines here on the graph. And you can see if I pull on this as far out as I can go, do you think these lines are ever going to intersect? Do you think they're ever going to cross each other? And in fact, they are not. So let's go back and take a look at this equation. Do you notice anything if these are both y equals mx plus b? Do you notice anything that is the same about them? And sure enough, if you look at the coefficient on the x, the slope term is the same. And these are called parallel lines, and parallel lines have the same slope. In the example that we just saw, m was equal to negative 2. We had y equals negative 2x plus 3, and y is equal to negative 2x minus 4. They will never cross, and their slopes are the same. Graph the following two functions on the same graph. We have one that's already solved for y, and we have one that isn't. So when looking at 4y minus 2x equals negative 4, I'm going to start by moving the x term to the other side. This makes a zero pair. 4y is equal to 2x minus 4. Divide each term by 4. And you're left with y equals 1 over 2x, 2 over 4, and 1 over 2 are equivalent fractions. You can check that in Desmos, minus 1. So we're going to compare that with y equals negative 2x plus 3. You could use graph paper if you wanted. I'm going to use Desmos. You can see when I graph these lines cross at a right angle. So let's go back and take a look at those slopes that we were looking at before. And do we notice anything here? Is there a pattern? And there is a pattern. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. And what that means is that the product, which means if I multiply them together, of the two slopes is negative 1. So if I multiply negative 2 times 1 over 2, I get negative 1. And I'm looking at 2x plus 3 and y equals negative 1 over 2x minus 1. And again, these are the opposite reciprocal slopes. And how this is going to look is you're going to be asked to write the equation of the line of a parallel or perpendicular line. This is actually the second time I've made this video. For some reason it didn't save before. So we're asked to write the equation of a line that's parallel to this line and contains this point. So we're always going to start by finding the slope of the equation of the line you're writing. I think the easiest way to do this is to solve for y. You're going to get it into y equals mx plus b, and then look for the coefficient on the x value. So let's start by solving for y. Start by subtracting 2x from both sides. This makes a zero pair. 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 5. Divide everything by 3. And you have a 1 pair here. You're left with y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 5 over 3. But the relevant piece of information that we're looking for is this. So our slope is negative 2 over 3. We now have a point and we have a slope. And if we have a point and a slope, we're going to use point slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. So substitute in y minus y1 is -2. M, -2/3 times x minus x1 is 3. Distribute. This is plus y plus 2 is equal to -2/3x plus 2. Subtract 2 from both sides. And you're left with y equals -2/3x plus 0, which is just this. So let's look at these lines on Desmos. We'll start with making sure that we solved for y correctly. Does the purple line cover the green line? Yes. So now we're going to be looking at the black line. Does the black line ever cross the purple line? And it looks like it doesn't. And you also want to make sure that the point you were given is on the line. And here it is, 3, -2. So we've done this problem correctly. Let's try a perpendicular problem. So we're looking for a perpendicular line, which means we need an opposite reciprocal slope. And this is not solved for y, but it's not too hard to solve this one for y. So we're going to start with just rearranging these terms so we have mx plus b. So it's very easy to see that we're looking for whatever -5 times what gives me -1. We're moving the, so remember, for reciprocals, we move the top to the bottom to the top, and this is the opposite sign, so the slope we're looking for is 1/5. We have a point, y minus 1, get that from here, y1 is the same thing as y plus 1. Ooh, sorry guys, equals 1/5 times x minus 0. Distribute, y plus 1 equals 1/5x. Subtract 1 from both sides. And I put this in the wrong place. It's fine. The equation of the line is y equals 1/5x minus 1. So let's go on over to Desmos and check that. We want to first make sure that we solve for y correctly. Does the purple line cover the green line? And it does. Is the black line perpendicular to the purple line? And it looks like it is. They cross at right angles. And is the point 0, -1 on the black line? And there it is. So we've done this problem correctly. Okay, I'm sorry I was a little tired. Hopefully this was helpful, recording it twice, even though you've only listened to it once. Thanks so much for watching.